for the sense of belonging. Some people die before they fulfill their desires. Such a waste of existence.
Anxious earth is rising. Anxious earth is rising. I'm so happy.
We spend our life searching for the sense of belonging. Some people die before they fulfill their desires. Such a waste of existence.
Hey, it's Double Tribble. Double Tribble channel. How's everyone? Let me see if I got audio here. Yeah, it's about 10 seconds delayed. That's okay. So you're watching me 10 seconds ago. You never know what happened in the future. Yeah, so this is 10 second delay, and maybe more where your locations may vary. Yeah, this is Double Tribble. My name's Ron. I live in New Hampshire. It's a rural area of New Hampshire with a bunch of animals and stuff. I live on a donkey farm, actually, and so I stream a lot of science and technology, and sometimes I do IRL with the animals and lots of things. And one of the things that I do is movie reviews, which is what we're going to do tonight. I'm going to do a movie review of the film Contact, made in 1997, starring Jodie Foster and Mathew McConaughey. Well, one of the reasons why I'm doing this film is that a few weeks back I did a review of The Arrival, 1996, and it was very, very similar it was a first contact type of thing, a much different narrative, but it involved a signal, getting a signal from aliens and all that kind of stuff. So, and it reminded me of Contact, so I threw in some clips from Contact into that review. And I said, hey, I should do a review of Contact, so I'm finally getting around to doing that. Before I get into that, I want to thank some new followers. I'm not affiliate, and I don't have alerts or anything like that, so I can't tell when people follow me until later on after the stream. It shows up in my activity feed. So I'd like to thank some of those people now for following me recently. I have 2 weeks ago, I think, Wallstar 95 and Igerzoom. I think I thanked them already. Thank you again. And eRoom, thank you. Thank you. eRoom gave me a raid and followed me about a week ago. Thank you, eRoom. And Memloss followed me as a result of that raid. Thank you. Thank you, Memloss, for following me. And Makchawaka followed me. And Mary Art 0488 followed me. And I was certain she's a bot, but I'm not so sure now. She yesterday I did my stream. She showed up and said hi and made some generic type comments, and when I responded, there was no interaction. She just posted several things and it said, oh, by the way, I do art if you want to, I do art. You can come and hire me for an artist, So maybe a bot, maybe it's just, someone like me who has alternate social skills, So I don't know if it's a bot or not. I didn't block her because I'm not sure. So if you're a real person, Mary, thank you for following me. Okay, so I almost didn't get this going in time here. I may have even when I started. Yeah, I think I started it pretty much on time. All my clocks are off by like 5 minutes each. There's a 5-minute spread between all my clocks here, so I have no idea what time it is. I have a program that runs on my computers that's supposed to automatically update the time on all my computers, and apparently it's either not running on them, some of them, or something. I don't know what's going on, but I'll have to check into that. But I think I started more or less at 7 o'clock, which is what I had planned. So that's good. And I hadn't been using my schedule, but this one I typed it into the schedule because it was more or less prepared, a prepared thing. So let's see here. All right, let me stop. Oh, I didn't check to see if I was in sync. But actually, let me stop this. I've got something running here that I want to stop. Because I want to have stuff, as few things as possible, running on my little computer when I stream. This computer is just barely good enough to stream with. Yeah, I'm in sync, so that's good. The thing is, if I get too much stuff running on my streaming computer, it does wacky things. It makes everything run slow, including the video stuff that it's got to do, and then it processes the video and the audio at different speeds, and things get out of sync. So I have to check that and make sure that's right, and I have to run as few things as possible on my computer to make sure that it's working properly. But now I've got this screen up here that is casting a weird pale light on me, which I don't want. Wonder if there's a way to fix that. Let me see if I have Wikipedia up here. So here, I'll show you what I've got up on the screen so you can see. Let's see here. Oh, no, that's not it. Sorry. Sorry. A little glitchy here. I gotta try to find out how to put. Okay, here we go. All right, there we go. So that's what I got up on the screen right now, and it's casting this real bright glow on me here. So I want to see if I can figure out how to make this go to dark mode. It doesn't seem to have a dark mode here. Night mode, dark mode. There's something like that on here. Tools. I thought Wikipedia had a dark mode on it, or night mode or something. Apparently not. Okay, let me go to another page then maybe. Who has a dark mode? Oh, Twitch has a dark mode. Let's go to Twitch. Except it's going to start giving me a bunch of stuff here. All right, there we go. All right, so let me bring my mug back on here again. There we go. See, you see the difference there? Look at my face here. Now watch. Now I'll click onto the Wikipedia and watch what happens. Man, that's huge. Okay, it really messes up my lighting. Not that I didn't even double check my lighting. It looks okay, I guess. Yeah, can't do much to improve on this anyway. All right. Let's see. All right, so let's. I took some clips from the film. I went through the film, and I actually spent some time. Went through and looked at different parts of it, and it's 2.5 hours long, so it's a huge long film, and it's packed with all kinds of technical stuff in there, which I'll talk about that, the technical stuff, some of it. And it's got a real narrative, it's got characters, kinda, it's got lots of complicated cinematic techniques and stuff like that. So it's packed with a lot of stuff, and the storyline itself is packed with a lot of stuff. There's a long arc of the story, and it's so it's. The bottom line is there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to do, so I'll get to it right away here if I can. I also have a new pointing device here. I've been kind of having difficulty with my mouse, and so I got a graphic tablet instead. Whoops. Okay, didn't want that to happen. All right. So it's kind of weird. If you ever use these, one of these pencil things, and a tablet, and you got to try to write on it, and it's kind of confusing, and it just takes getting used to. So it's, if you're used to using a mouse all the time, I can use my mouse to just boom, 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 click, click. But this thing it's a little, you got to hover the pen over the thing at the right spot and then push it down exactly, and it's just, maybe there's another way I can make that work. I'm not sure, but it's definitely a learning curve on that thing, trying to get that to work. All right, so let's see if I can bring up this these video clips here on the movie. So it's the movie starring what I should do? I should probably go through. Should I go through the Wikipedia page first, or do the clips first? Yeah, if I went through the Wikipedia page first, I would be able to talk a little bit more intelligently about some of it, maybe. I might get the names right. I don't do very well with names, so it helps me to look at the names, recently, and then and I can remember them better. But that's okay. You guys know. Let's see. No, that's not it. There we go. No. All right, this is gonna take a second here. Okay, I think we got it now. All right. There we go. All right, so this is what I'll do. What I'll do here is I kind of organize these clips. I took a bunch of clips from the film, and I tried to organize them, you know, so we can talk about them in a little bit, some sort of clear way, you know, by category, whatever. I'm gonna. Oh, that's okay. I don't need to do that. If it gets too cold, I'll stop and put my thing on. Okay. Let me see how much of a delay I have in the audio here. Still. Okay, it's not too bad. Okay, so I'll just listen to this as I play it, and then we'll. All right, so this is the very beginning of the film. Okay, so what I'll talk about here are some of the mistakes in the film. there were you know, big long film, sci-fi, it's gonna have mistakes. Sci-fi's always have mistakes. This one is really good though. I mean, it has a lot of technical stuff in there, and they get almost everything right. So don't take, you know, if I pick out a few things that are not right, it's not that I'm picking on the film. The film did a really good job on the technical. So, you know, the science stuff. So let me play this clip here, and then you see if you can figure out what the problem is with this clip first. This first one.
Well, I'm not a crook. Robert Kennedy was shot in that
We are free at last.
A sniper has fired at President Kennedy.
All right. So I'm gonna shut my monitor off here. I don't need that. All right. So the did you see what's wrong with that? It was zooming out from the Earth, right, through the solar system, and the idea, the purpose of that first opening scene is to, you know, demonstrate that our radio waves are emanating out into space, and the further you go out into space, the further back in time it appears, right? So like if we send out, you know, something today, and it goes, you know, to the nearest star, you know, about 4 light years away, they're going to hear what we were doing 4 years ago. You know what I mean? You know how that works, right? In astronomy, where you get the further away you look at something, the further back in time you're looking at it is what is the effect that it has. So like if we look at the closest galaxy to us is the Andromeda galaxy. It's about 2.5 million light years away. So when we look at them, all this light and all the other radio signals that we get from it and everything are 2.5 million years old. We're looking at it as it was 2.5 million years ago. So they're in the movie, they're trying to show that with that opening clip, rather than have somebody explain it, right? Because that's not how you if you do a good movie, you're supposed to, you know, show me, don't tell me, right? That's how you're supposed to do movies. So that's what they're trying to show in that first clip. The problem is it's only like what, about an hour or something, 1 light hour to get to the outer solar system. It's not, you know, they're showing the thing here. Let me show you hear those they go all the way back to like in the 50s and the 30s, and you know.
Well, I'm not a crook.
And they're still in the solar system. Right, there's
Robert Kennedy was shot in that
So they're showing Jupiter, and they're playing radio broadcasts or TV broadcasts or whatever from the 1960s. You know, that's this was done in the 1990s, right? This film was made in 1997. So they're showing radio signals that are 30 years old, but they're at Jupiter. That's not right. The scale's all wrong. You know, if you were in Jupiter listening to stuff on Earth, it'd be like you'd be listening to stuff that was an hour ago or whatever it is. I don't know. You do the math. It's not even a light day away. So
We are free at last.
A sniper has fired at President Kennedy.
they screwed that up pretty bad. And maybe it was just a cinematic thing. Maybe they're just artistic license, or they're just trying to get the point across metaphorically, or I don't know. They screwed it up anyway. For me, it seemed screwed up to me. Watching that and then saying, "Wait a second, that's not right." That's it's their scale's all wrong. All right, so let's do this other one here. This is another clip that they screwed up here a little bit.
Dad, it's starting. You're gonna miss it. Dad, there's another one. Hurry up. Oh, there's another one. Come on, hurry up, Dad.
All right, so the idea is that they're gonna watch a meteor shower from their porch, their deck or whatever, and she's using this refractor telescope to watch a meteor shower. That's not how you do it. I'm gonna pump up my mic a little bit here because I think I might be a little undermodulated, if that's okay. Let's see here. Is that a little bit better? Okay, I hope I didn't blast anybody, but I think it was a little low compared to where it should be. All right, so that was another mistake. Okay, not a big deal, A lot of people probably aren't going to notice that or whatever, so not that big of a deal. But it's just another mistake. And these are like, the mistakes seem to be front loaded. This is like the beginning of the movie. Later on, it seems to be more or less accurate. So maybe that was just the way they put the movie together or something. I don't know. Okay, now here's another one. Now this is when they discover the signal. And I played most of these clips on that other review I did with the Arrival to compare the two. On the Arrival, the radio signal discovery was not a main part of the thing. It was like, okay, they're aliens, now we're going to go find them or whatever. It wasn't like a big part of the narrative. In Contact, it is the narrative. The radio signal, the whole movie is about her, this Jodie Foster's character, being a scientist for SETI and wanting to listen to signals and discovering them, and the discovery of the signal is a big thing. It's the whole, that's what it's all about. So let me see here. Let me try something here. I need to adjust something here. I took these clips from my last review, and I've got my old picture on there, so it's probably confusing for people. Let me see. Is that better? There we go. So wipe out my old. What I did is I just took a clip from my last review, but it's got me in the corner and wearing a different shirt and everything, and it's probably confusing people. All right. So this is when when she actually discovers it. So I'll play that here, and I'll comment on it as we go along.
Boss has a bogey.
Right ascension, 18 hours, 36 minutes, 56.2 seconds.
Fish.
Declination.
We're on it.
All right, that was kind of throwing a walkie-talkie. I don't know, they're trying to show that it's, you know, they're excited, right? The guy threw a walkie-talkie to her. And I thought that was kind of weird. But she discovered, right? She's listening on the headphones, and oops. It's just, you know, people, they don't use headphones anymore. Nobody uses headphones anymore. You know, it's people. At least SETI people don't. The computers do the listening, right? They set up the computers to do the listening, even in the 90s, and now they do explain it here. There's a line there where one of the characters explain that, and it's so they cover their asses on that she's using their headphones. Okay, this is a picture of one of their monitors, and they're at the what's it called, the Very Large Array in New Mexico somewhere, where they've got like 27 or 28 of these parabolic dish antennas pointing up at the sky, and they can move them all independently and stuff like that. And so they get this signal, and they go through a whole bunch of checklist type of thing, trying to make sure of where the signal's coming from. And one of the things they got to do is to make sure all the antennas are pointed in the sky, are pointed in the right direction or whatever. If there was an antenna that was pointed in the wrong direction, feeding into the signal, then it would mess them up. So that's what this screen is about. So that's kind of, that looks real to me.
Hello. I need a full systems check.
All right, so that guy was just looking at the signal, and that's one of the things that they do, right? Is to system check, right? Make sure there isn't something wrong with the system, and make sure it's a real deal,
27 the second we get there.
And then she's driving back, and she's giving these, she's shouting these orders to them, make sure it's pointed this way, make sure it's pointed that way, do this, do that, And it's the stuff she's shouting seems to make a lot of sense. And this scene right here is so cool. They do this long take here where they actually showed her driving up. They didn't even have a stunt person doing the driving. Jodie Foster drove up in the car, stopped the car, got out, and it was all continuous, right? They didn't do any cuts or anything. She drove up, she got out. And now she's gets out of the car, and she's continuing to talk to them on the walkie-talkie, shouting these things. Now watch this scene here, the technique that they use following her, and the way that they build excitement and everything. It's just a really well done scene here where they follow her. And there's another scene where they do that too. I don't know if I might show that part, or at least part of that other one too later on. I'll comment on it later, but just watch this scene. It's just incredible.
Go get ready to set the target frequency to manual the second we're aligned. Did you copy? I want you to go off axis on 27 the second we're there, and leave the LO frequency where it is. Stay on it, fish. Don't let it get away. If you lose it, just scan the band. Run every frequency you can think of. How you doing?
All right, so she's giving them all kinds of things, to turn the dish off, right, to make sure that to try to determine if it's something in space or if it's something on the ground. You turn the at least one of the antennas off and look at it to see if the signal drops. If it doesn't drop, then it means that it's coming from the side somewhere, terrestrial or whatever, and then move it back, just to see. And what else did she? She told them to go wideband if they lost the signal, because if it's signals far away, maybe it's drifting in frequency. So they were looking at a narrow frequency, which we'll get into here in a little bit. And if they lose the signal, then maybe it's because the frequency is drifting. So she told them, if the signal drops, go wideband. You know, look at a wider band of frequency so you can still keep the signal.
Partially polarized set of moving pulses, amplitude modulated.
We're locked. Systems check out, signal across the board. What's the frequency?
4.4623 gigahertz. Hydrogen times pi. Told you.
Okay, so what did she say? 4.4623 gigahertz or whatever. That's that frequency that they're talking about there is there's a particular area that they want to use as a candidate, and he uses this in astronomy all the time. Is one of the emission lines of hydrogen, which is what 1 point something else, 1.1 something, 1.2 something, and they think, okay, well, we'll take that emission line, multiply it by pi, and we get this frequency 4.4623, I think it was. And the idea is that if it's a natural phenomenon, then it would be quite a coincidence that it would be exactly that hydrogen emission times pi. You know, it'd be unlikely that would be a natural thing, because if to figure that out, it's got to be an intelligent being of some sort, some intelligence that is multiplying by pi. Pi seems to be a universal thing, right? A circle, right? The diameter the circumference is divided by the diameter. So that seems to be kind of a universal thing. So okay, that's a universal thing. And hydrogen is the simplest atom. It's just one electron and one proton, sometimes a neutron, and that particular emission happens when the electron and the protons flip. The electron and protons flip in the hydrogen, and it causes that particular frequency. So that's what that was all about, and that's why she said, "Oh, see, I told you. That's where we should look, because it's you got to be intelligent to do that, blah blah blah." So that's what that was all about.
Could be AWACS out of Kirtland jamming us, but I'm doubting it.
All right, let's see if Fudd's reading it too.
Okay, so now they're trying to eliminate terrestrial sources, right? They're going through all the things that it could be, maybe it's a military signal or some satellite or something, So they're going through them one by one, trying to eliminate the possible terrestrial sources of this thing to make sure that it's something up in the sky. And one of the techniques that they didn't show in here that they're using now, though, is to use Doppler effect to differentiate between terrestrial and sky-based signals, because when something moves and it's emitting a radio signal, it will change the frequency a little bit as it moves, and the Earth is rotating, and satellites are orbiting the Earth, and by using Doppler, they can help differentiate that from something really far away, that appears stationary to us, more or less, and if there is a Doppler shift, then whatever is sending a signal then might be moving too, right? But anyway, I just recently read that they were using Doppler to try to differentiate between terrestrial signals and sky-based signals.
AWACS status is negative.
What about white sands?
On this frequency, no.
Okay. So he's saying, so she's saying, well, what about this, And he's saying, no way. He's kind of the expert, I guess, on these terrestrial-based signals or whatever. Who knows? I don't know.
Dad's not tracking any snoops in this vector. Shuttle Endeavor's in sleep mode.
Okay, point source confirmed. Whatever it is, it ain't local.
Okay. Yeah, whatever it is, it ain't local. That's just the famous line from the movie. So they figured it out. He said it in that weird way. All right.
Got it. Reading over 100 jet skis.
Jesus. Pick it up on my...
All right, so then the signal goes away. They're listening to it, and it goes away suddenly. And in the arrival, the same thing happened. They were listening to the signal, and after a while, it went away. But in the arrival, it just went away. That's it, and they were stuck. In this one, it goes away, but then it comes back. And it turns out what it's doing is it's doing this dut dut dut. You hear that pulsing, that kind of dun 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 like that. And it's going through all the prime numbers between 1 and 100, which is kind of, that was a mistake. That they would assume that it would be 10 base, right? You could do the primes, but that they'd only go to 100. That's kind of an assumption that the aliens have 10 fingers, right? Or they would use base 10. But anyway, it's still, that's another one of the ways that they think that they could differentiate an alien, or that if an alien wanted to prove that they were intelligent or whatever, they would send prime numbers, because that's something that they think might be universal too. Is this idea of prime numbers? Prime numbers are, right? They're only divisible by themselves in 1. Here, I'll show a clip. I think this next clip kind of gets into that a little bit.
Wait a minute. Those are numbers. That was a 3. The one before it was a 2. Base 10 numbers. Just start counting now.
That's
See
a
how far
5.
we can get. 1.
7.
7. Those are primes. 2, 3, 5, 7. Those are all prime numbers. And there's no way that's a natural phenomenon.
Holy shit.
Okay, let's just calm down.
Whatever.
Yeah, so they're... what do we do? Yeah, so that's what I just explained that, I guess. So.
The signal is we better do something soon. Vega's gonna set.
Deposition is confirmed. We've got 4.4623 gigahertz. Confirmed. We've got 112 Janskis.
All right, do you have a source location yet?
We put it right smack in the middle. Vega.
All right. So that's so they lost the signal. Signal came back. They figured out that it was prime numbers, and they're going, oh wait, what do we do? And the one guy says, well, Vega is about to set. What he meant to say, what he was saying there, was that the Earth is turning. And that star they were looking at, Vega, which is a kind of a prominent star, what is it, about 60 light years away or whatever, I forget how many they said it was. But as the Earth turns, all of the stars eventually set, just as the sun sets and the moon sets and everything, as the Earth is turning. And once it sets, you can't see it with your telescope or antenna or whatever you're using to do your observations with. So they said, okay, Vega's about to set. Let's get another signal on it. So they go to this guy in Australia, who's on the other side of the world. He's in the southern hemisphere, and he's on the other side of the globe. And so they have him look at it, this other guy, this other observatory. He gets it. He says, yeah, I got it. It's at this frequency. What was it, 4.43, whatever, 42623 or whatever it was. And he says 100 and something Janskis. Jansky is a unit of strength of signal that they use in astronomy, and it's a unit that's independent of frequency. So it's not just power. It's more like amplitude or whatever. It's handy for if you find standard candles and stuff like that to figure out how far away they are and all that kind of stuff. But it's a real unit that they use in astronomy.
All right, do you have a source location
That's
yet?
the next clip here. Get through
We
this
put
one.
it right smack in the middle. Vega.
I hear it.
Hear what?
Harmonic?
Bingo. I had Willie ask pretend to retune to 8.9247 gigahertz. There's a lot more here, folks.
All right, Fish, let's get on the negative sideband.
I'm already on it.
What is going on?
Another
Oh,
signal.
whoa, look at all
Another
those.
signal.
Yeah,
Look
a
at that.
second signal at double the frequency. It looks like... Somebody get a TV monitor?
Okay, so what they're hearing is dun, 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 and then they look at it, and there's they're seeing on the sideband it's they're seeing a signal that is in these blip 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 blip. There's actually frames of information, just like a television picture. The way old television used to be transmitted is through frames, and then they had a separate carrier that they used for the audio, and they have found this now. They've looked at it and they said, oh, there are frames of information in this blip 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 that we're getting, and say, okay, let's take a look at it. Let's get a TV because it looks like it's a TV signal. So now they get the TV signal on it.
Different interlaced frames. And framing one.
It's just noise.
Trying frame two.
I've got an offset carrier here. I think it's audio.
Rotate 90 degrees counterclock.
My God.
Okay. What's going on?
I'm not gonna believe this.
All right. So what they do, they take these frames, they figure out it's TV frames, and they figure out it's interlaced, and it's the way TV signals are sent. The old over the air TV signals is they scan lines, right? And they'd scan every other frame. They'd scan line 1, then they'd scan line 3, then line 5. All the odd frames. Then they'd go back to the top again and scan all the even frames. That's called interlacing, and they do that just to make it less flickery, when you're displaying it, and to make it look so that it doesn't look like it's being scanned. It's scanning fast enough, and it just looks better. It looks less flickery when it's done that way, especially at lower frame rates, which is how they did it. They were like 30 frames per second, I think. That's how they did the old TV. So they did that, and then they figured out how to decode it and put it back up on there. And it turns out that it's a picture of Hitler. They're going, what the fuck? Why is this? Oh no. These are, what kind of aliens are these sending pictures of Hitler? And they're trying to figure it all out. And I think they explained it here. Let me play this next clip and see if they explain that.
Transmission used 25 frames per second, but we're receiving 50 frames per second.
No, okay. So what they figured out, of course, was that the first one of the first TV signals that ever got sent was of Hitler in 1938 or 39 or something like that. Before, when he was opening up the Olympic Games. That just happened to be one of the first things that was sent out through a real strong TV signal, and so that's what they're sending back, which is kind of weird. You would think that, there were lots of radio signals that went out before that, so that you would think that's what they would send back. So I'm not really. So that's just kind of weird. I guess it adds a little bit more drama to the movie. And so they all thought, oh no, these aliens are fascist or something, But they just happened to say, okay, here we see this signal, we're sending it back to you. That's all it was. And then it turns out that remember telling you about the interlacing, they only got like say the even or odd frames or whatever of the thing was the picture, and then they thought the other lines were just noise, but then they figured out, oh no, it's not noise, it's actually this other data. So I'll play that
So
here.
we can the other 25 through a series of search algorithms to see if there was anything else. We found a series of markers on the top of each frame. Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Send it, Willie.
Okay, here it comes.
It's digital. Massive amounts of data, which extend right to the higher harmonics.
Jackpot.
All right, so she's that was it. The way they determined it, I don't know. They talk about decryption. I don't know why it would be encrypted. That doesn't make sense. But they found these little markers in each frame that helped them line up and know where the beginning of each frame was and all that kind of stuff. And he said higher harmonics, which didn't make a lot of sense to me. I think they were just trying to say it was just a high bandwidth signal. There was a lot of data that was in that. In between those scan lines is what he was trying to say there. That upper harmonic didn't make a lot of sense to me. Okay, this scene here is right. It's Jodie Foster is the main protagonist here, and she's has a kind of a halfway romantic relationship with this Mathew McConaughey's Why I can't say his name. Mathew McConaughey. His character and her kind of halfway get together, and they have what seems like a one-night stand, and she doesn't want to get involved. She's got other shit going on, right? She's got her career and all this, and so she blows him off. But then they meet later on in the film. After she gets the signal and again gets famous and all this, and it turns out that he's doing some work for the White House, or I don't know. Anyway, they come back together again, right? They get back together again, and so they're this takes a little bit of setup for this scene. Sorry. So they're trying to figure out who they find out that this thing is a machine. This detailed information shows them how to build a machine, and the machine is designed to have one person in the machine, but they don't know what the machine's going to do. They assume it's going to send the person to the aliens, or they don't know what it's going to do. But they assume that it's going to send them. That it's like a spaceship of some sort that will send the one person that they put in it to the aliens' place. But Mathew McConaughey's character is in love with Jodie Foster's character, and Mathew McConaughey is on the panel that's supposed to decide who's going to go in the spaceship. And so turns out that he actually doesn't want her to go, and he's trying to tell her right now one of the reasons why, and it's a technical reason. I'll play this clip, and then I'll get to chat here in just a second. So I'll play this. It's a technical thing. It has to do with relativity and stuff like that.
Okay.
Special relativity.
Yeah.
This machine. You'll only be 4 years older, but over 50 years would have passed here on Earth.
Basically, yeah.
And everybody that you care about would be gone, dead and buried.
All right, so that's relativity, and there's something called you've probably heard of the twin paradox, where you have an astronaut and two twin astronauts that are the same age, and one of them stays on the Earth, and the other one goes out into space on a spaceship and comes back, and the one that goes out in space and comes back, time for that person goes more slowly than the person on Earth because of special relativity, and also general relativity too. Plays a part a little bit. And so he's trying to explain to her, well, if you get in this machine and it sends you at the speed of light or close to the speed of light out to this place and come back, and you'll be really young, and then I'll be dead and I won't see you anymore, and you won't be able to see your family, blah, blah, blah. So he's kind of trying to trying to talk her out of it or whatever, being the one to go in the thing. But the technical stuff on that is a little bit off because, as it turns out, she goes through a wormhole, which doesn't. So she doesn't actually travel through space at the speed of light like that, or close to the speed, relativistic speeds, because the wormhole actually changes space itself. So she isn't actually traveling that far to get that far. It's kind of complicated the way that they think that a wormhole would work, if they're even possible to build. But in any case, if that's what's happening, she's traveling through a wormhole, then that isn't going to happen. She isn't going to age like that. And as it turns out, we find out she gets into the thing, it sends her to that other place and back, and she doesn't age. Or the other people don't age, and she's the same age as everybody else. So that whole thing that he said was not even correct. Hey, hi Stephen, hi Big Ducky Snow. This is for those of you watching on the VOD, this is a live Twitch stream, and Twitch has a facility that allows people to chat, viewers to type into a chat facility here and talk to streamers, and one of the friends of our channel here is Stephen Big Ducky Snow, who also streams on Twitch, and he says, hiya, I'm listening in while I eat my dinner, and he says, I may not have any questions, but I love listening to your thoughts. Okay, thank you, Stephen. Thank you for coming to the stream, and thank you for watching, and I hope you're eating something really yummy there. Yeah, Big Ducky Snow does a stream also, so let me give him a shout out. See if this even works still. No, did that work? Unrecognized command. I thought I had this set up to do that. Okay, well, yeah, my computer is not. Anyway, everybody go to Twitch and type in big_ducky with an IE_snow, and go to that channel and follow Big Ducky Snow, because he's got a really cool. He does work streams where they do Pomodomo, I think, if I'm saying that correctly. It's a kind of a structured work environment that where people can watch his stream and get their tasks done. And he also does karaoke, where he plays music and sings to the karaoke. So everybody get to go watch Ducky Snow on Twitch. All right, let's see what my next. Okay, so this next clip then is towards the beginning of the film. This guy here is Jodie Foster's father, and when she was a kid. And this is a little drawing that she drew. And anyway, what I'm going to play here is they at the very beginning of the thing, they're talking, and they have this little line that they say about that if humans are the only intelligent species in the universe, then it's a big waste of space. It's kind of a clever little thing to say, right? Clever way to say, yeah, there's most likely other intelligent people in the universe. And this is a well-written film, a well-written script and everything. And so they have lots of these things in this film, themes and elements of the film that repeat and kind of tie in to each other. So what I'll do is I'll play three clips in a row here where they use this line in three different cases. The first case is when her dad says it to her, and then when she's romancing the McConaughey's character, he says it to her, which is just totally a total freak out, right? That he would say that same thing. And then at the end of the film, after everything's, it's like the second to last scene of the film, Jodie Foster is talking to some kids, and she says a version of the line to the kids. So it's, I'll play the 3 clips and you'll see.
Hey, Dad.
Yeah.
Do you think there's people on other planets?
I don't know, Sparks. But I guess I'd say, if it is just us, it seems like an awful waste of space.
Now, there are 400 billion stars out there, just in our galaxy alone. If only one out of 1 million of those had planets, all right, and if just one out of 1 million of those had life, and if just one out of 1 million of those had intelligent life, there would be literally millions of civilizations out there.
Well, if there wasn't, it'd be an awful waste of space.
I'll tell you one thing about the universe, though. The universe is a pretty big place. It's bigger than anything anyone has ever dreamed of before. So if it's just us, it seems like an awful waste of space. Right?
All right, so that was at least 3 times I saw in the film. Maybe those were the only 3. I don't know, but that was it's kind of a little thing, just to tie in different sections and different relationships, and I'm not sure what the phrase, if there are other meanings to that phrase. I don't think so. I think it's pretty straightforward. You noticed in the second one where she was romancing with McConaughey, when he said it, that was it for her, man. She just, you could tell she's such a good actress. Her mannerisms and the way she reacted and everything. I'll play that one again because that was pretty good, actually.
Awful waste of space.
You see that? Just her reaction there was like, I mean, throughout this thing, this is one of her best films, I think. She's just a great actress. All of her stuff is really good, but she just did a terrific job in this film.
Right?
Okay, now this is another theme. This is another theme. This is a cinematic theme now, and I only saw it 2 times, but there may have been other times too. In this scene, the bad guy. This is when she first sees the bad guy, and she is the bad guy is some cult leader or something. Bad guy, right? He's using religion for evil purposes, and he's using the scientists as saying that the scientists are bad, to try to motivate people to do whatever he wants them to do. And so she's watching him say things that are against her, and then she rolls up her window, and it's a reflection. It shows a reflection, and that was kind of like a mirror or a reflection. And I thought it was really interesting because it was one of the things when it gets to the end of the movie, she makes a statement which is very much sounds like a religious statement, for trying to describe her experience, which she went through. So it's almost like there's a reflection, or maybe there's a projection or something going on here that's just kind of here, I'll play the clip and then I'll talk about it a little bit more. Well, there are 2 clips. I'll play this one and I'll play the other one that's very similar to it. It has the same theme.
Are these the kind of people that you want talking to your God for you?
All right, I changed that. When I edited, I changed that scene a little bit. That when she rolls up the window, I have the sound go away. And I did that for a reason. It just I think it would have made more sense to do it that way anyway, because it's from her perspective. So rolling up the window and having the sound go away from her is what she would have heard. So I think it would have made more sense. But that's not how they actually did it in the film. Just to let you know that I changed that. But you see, it's kind of like see how his reflection was in the window. I mean, it's kind of hard to back this up. Here are just a few frames, but I'll try here. There we go. See, it's like she's looking at him, and it's almost like it's projection, right? Or like, you know, do you want? He's saying, do you want them to talk to your God for you? You know, and it's like. And you can almost see her thinking, is this religious guy the guy you want to be telling you how to communicate to the world or to God or to nature or whatever? You know, it's there's kind of a reflection thing there. So it's the other time I saw where they use a mirror or a reflection, I'll play that clip here now too. All right, so this is, I got to set this up a little bit actually. Her dad ends up having a heart attack. And this is a big long scene, it's very dramatic, and back it up a little bit. And he's on the ground, he passes out or whatever, he's on the ground. She says, "Oh, I'll go get your medicine for you, you know, to help you," and blah blah blah. He's already dead, I guess, but he died. He had a heart attack and died. But she wants to help him, so they have this dramatic scene where the camera follows her from all the way up the stairs and then to this hallway, and then she's running down the hallway. And here, I'll play it for you. What happens? She's trying to get this medicine right for her father, and then boom! It's actually a medicine cabinet. So that scene was actually showing her through a mirror. So I thought that was a very similar thing. And later on, you learn that she blamed herself for not getting the medicine too soon. You know, kind of halfway blaming herself for her father's death and all that kind of stuff. It was a very, you know, reflective moment, right, for the character, right? It's like her reflecting on her own thoughts or whatever. So I don't know if that's what the reflection meant, or if the mirror has some other meaning or something like that. But that was a technique that they used, and they used it a couple times. Another thing that they used, which I thought was really interesting, was, remember that scene that we showed her when she discovered the signal and the camera followed her from behind that time, all the way up the stairs and all that kind of stuff? This is a very similar thing, because the camera followed her all the way up the stairway and through the hallway and everything. So I don't know if that was they just happened to reuse that technique, but that was also a dramatic moment. The difference here is that they showed her from the front doing this, in this high intensity moment. The other one, they were showing her from the back running. So, when they showed her from the back running, it was a very exciting moment, but it was a happy moment, right? This one, it was a sad moment. So, a little bit different. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on in this movie. That's why I said this is a lot of stuff to unpack on this film, because there's a lot of stuff in it. Okay, this is another cinematic technique that they use. In the very beginning of the film, right, they show her as a young kid, and then they want to explain that Jodie Foster is this same kid grown up, and rather than say it or do it in some some other way, they did it in this really cool dramatic cinematic effect technique that they used to show that, and to also show that her interest as a kid drove what she did with her career when she was older. Here, I'll play this clip.
This is W9GFO. Come back. I'm gonna need a bigger antenna.
All right, so yeah, when she was a kid, I didn't show some of this. Her dad was apparently a ham, amateur radio guy, and got her interested in amateur radio, and apparently that drove her to try to. One of the things that they do in amateur radio is to see how far of a signal they can detect, or you try to communicate with somebody who is far away from you, 100 miles or 1,000 miles or whatever it is, And so they showed her doing that as a kid, and then they did that transition to kind of show, okay, this is the kid growing up. That's what that was about. Okay, this is another thing. This wasn't really a cinematic technique. This was a kind of a narrative thing, and people may not understand this today. They show this this billionaire, right, who's helping her out, and well, here I'll play it and I'll explain it. That'll make more sense.
Magna cum laude. Doctoral work, Caltech, where you did breakthrough work on the lanthanide doped ruby maser, dramatically increasing the sensitivity of radio telescopes. Subsequently, offered a teaching position at Harvard University.
It could be anything.
Okay, so what that was was this billionaire was showing her all the stuff that all the research that he had done on her. Now in 1997, this was amazing to see somebody show this much information on somebody was unusual. It was difficult to do. You'd have to hire a detective or something. It wouldn't be something that you could do very easily, was to gather this type of information about somebody very easily. I mean, today you do a Google search. I mean, you look at their Facebook page or whatever. It's a lot different today. Back then, for somebody to know that much information about somebody was extraordinary. So it was like. It's like this guy saying, "Oh, look I know everything about you," and blah blah blah. And it's a power play on his part, obviously, to try to impress her or influence her or whatever. But it's just for somebody today seeing this might not understand what was going on there. That when he was showing all that stuff, saying she did that, giving her whole background, her whole life. It was a big deal back then. It's something that ordinary people would not be able to do, to get that much information on somebody. It's just kind of a demonstration of his power or whatever to be able to get that information. Of course, today, we can do it very easily. So,
Harvard University.
It could be anything. It could be a Trojan horse. We build it and outpours the entire Vegan army.
Why bother even risking the personnel? It could be a weapon.
Right, some kind of a doomsday machine.
All right, so this is after they've discovered the signal. They figured out that it's a machine, that they had all the instructions on how to build this machine from the signal. And they're saying, "Oh no, we shouldn't build it because it's this," and the army and all that. Are saying, no, we shouldn't do it because it could be a bad thing. And then the scientists are saying, no, let's do it because it could give us all this wonderful information and blah, blah, blah. So that was kind of one of the tension points in the film.
What does it mean, Doctor?
Well, we have no idea. It could be anything. It could be The first volume of an Encyclopedia Galactica.
Instructions to acquaint us with their colonization procedures.
Moses with a few billion new commandments.
So yeah, so they're doing it again. You know, what is this information? You know, is it good or bad? And Jodie Foster is you know good. She right at this point she's thinking, oh, this is it's going to be good. It's a wonderful thing. Blah 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 blah. And the you know the military guys and the bad guys are. Her nemesis or whatever is saying no, it could be evil, right? They get a pessimistic. She's optimistic, they're pessimistic, and here's another scene does the same thing.
I wish the world was a place where fair was the bottom line, where the kind of idealism showed that the hearing was rewarded, not taken advantage of. Unfortunately, we don't live in that world.
Funny. I've always believed that the world is what we make of it.
Yeah, so that's right. So right after this scene, he gets into the machine and dies. So, you know, at least from the perspective of the filmmaker of the story, the person who wrote the story, they're an optimist, right? They don't prescribe to that nihilistic view of the world. Right. So, also another thing that in the 90s, you know, they were showing that the military people negatively in this film. After this was kind of actually the 90s was kind of a transition period. The people who were making films in the 90s in the 80s and 90s had just gotten through. Vietnam. Vietnam was a really bad war for the U.S. It was not a popular war. You know, it was just killed a lot of people. A lot of Americans and a lot of kids lost their lives, and at that point, the military had a very negative view. People did not like the military. Because they were just, you know, they were doing bad things in Vietnam, and you know, the media was not controlled the way it is today. Back then, the media was much more free to report on stuff, and so people had a negative view of the military, and that kind of went into film from after the mid 70s through the mid 90s, or even to the end of the mid 70s, mid 90s. That was kind of a theme in film, was to depict people in the military as evil and bad and stuff like that. Then, you know, we had 9/11, and even before then, there was a big push by whoever has the power to change that view, and then they started saying, oh, you know. Thank you for your service. You know, military people are beautiful. They're great. They're wonderful. Blah blah blah. You know, so it changed. 9/11 may have had something to do with that, but I think it actually started changing in the 90s. They started changing that perspective to try to get away from the negative on the military. So you'll see that in a lot of films throughout the 80s and 90s, late 70s. And this film was actually written, let's see, Carl Sagan wrote this in the late 70s, actually. And he tried to get it, he got it into development in the early 80s, and it went into development hell, and he said, fuck you. And he pulled it out and put it into a novel and published it as a novel. And then later on in the what was it, a couple years before this, right, in the early 80s, then they got it back into development, and actually, or early 90s rather, they got it back into development, and got the movie made. So it's you know, and then of course they updated the script, you know, from I didn't read the novel, so I don't know what the differences are between a novel and the movie, but I'm sure it was updated a lot, based on new information and new attitudes and everything. So, but that military thing, attitude was probably in the original script because it was written at that time. And I think they were still having movies come out in the 90s like this that were negative towards the military. All right, so let me play this. What's this next one here? Okay, this is the scene where the thing. Okay, so all right, you saw the movie, right? There's spoilers in this, right? The machine blows up, right? It's the evil the guy the bad guy, the cult leader, ends up that he is a terrorist too, and he straps a bomb onto himself and somehow gets into the machine as one of the staff or one of the workers or whatever, infiltrates the staff, and he's on the machine walking around, and she discovers it, and he ends up setting off the bomb and blowing it up, and the whole machine falls apart. And this is just the way there's a lot of CG right here, 90s CG, so it's not as good as today, but it's still quite a scene. It was really dramatic, and when you're watching the film, it's really something else.
All right, back to your stations. I need you to be professional, people. Settle down.
All right, so that was really, because they're talking about the billions and billions of dollars to build this thing and how humongous it is and all the effort and all this stuff, and the thing gets destroyed. It's like just it's quite dramatic. Really good filmmaking there, the way they did that. Okay, and then I'm gonna change something really quick here. I'm gonna take a second here and make some changes here while I'm talking here. I gotta change the title on this. I don't have moderators and stuff that can do this stuff for me, so I gotta do it myself. So I'm gonna take a little pause here to change this. This will just take a second. Thank you for standing by. Okay, there we go. I just added the word spoilers to my title so people know. I just realized that I didn't put that in there, so we don't have people. I don't like spoilers if I haven't seen the movie. I mean, this is like a 30-year-old movie, so what people have seen this probably, most likely. But just in case, we don't want anybody. I should probably put this right here in my. Let me do that too. Let's see here. Do I have that? Yeah, I do have that. There we go. There. All right, that's a little bit better, isn't it? With the word spoilers on there. Okay. So people will know. All right, so they discover that there's another. After that the machine gets crashed, then she discovers, oh, they built another one in Japan, let's go to Japan, and so they pick her right to do it, and she's in the machine. So this is the machine the way it's supposed to work when it doesn't get blown up. And it's just the techniques they use here, just really something else. I'll play this. I'll play the script or the clip in, and I'll explain.
Seven, really 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Oh God! Radiation!
Okay, so it's kind of, having that big ship, get pulled over by what, magnets or what, who knows what's going on there. But it's just, they just made it really dramatic, right? And then she ends up going through this wormhole, and she goes to Vega, in the machine. And then, but then Vega, it turns out Vega is not the actual, destination.
It's Vega.
Thing. And this here, they showed this just for a fraction of a second in the movie. They got some sort of structure here that she sees in here, and they didn't show this very much. And you probably, if you were watching the film, you probably didn't even notice this. But see this little structure here at this location here, this space station or whatever. I don't know. It's something there near Vega. I thought that was kind of interesting. But then she gets pulled away right away, right? So she thought she was going to Vega, and she went to Vega, but that was just a stopping point. That was just a layover. She did a 3-second layover in Vega in her wormhole. So, but then she went to the real place. Let's see.
They're alive. It's like some kind of a transit system. There's some way. Oh God.
Now that weird thing of her showing her face, going off speaking off the side of her face, or that was, I don't know what the heck that was. That was just really weird. And one of the things she said there, repeated later a little bit, like a minute later. So it was just the most bizarre thing. I guess it was, they just put that in there just to dazzle the audience or make people really confused about what was going on, or to help people get into the same mood that she was in. All right, so the compass was another thing in this thing. I remember I was talking about these themes or these repeating whatever doohickeys. The compass was another one, right? McConaughey's character gave her the compass, and I don't know if it was supposed to be like a moral compass or what the compass was supposed to symbolize exactly there. I think it was just right, what a compass is, right? To give you direction, right? To give you direction in life. I don't know. So, and turned out it did, right? So she's in the thing, and the compass floating away caused her to unbuckle herself from the chair to go get the compass. So the compass is responsible for her detaching herself from the chair, and I think I show what happens here after she did that. Boom. Right. So what happened there was the chair, because of all the shaking and stuff like that, the chair came loose and flew up and hit the ceiling. You know, if she would have been in a chair, she would have got smashed. So the compass saved her life. It gave her direction, right, to cut her out of the chair, whatever. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And the compass came in a couple more scenes. I forget all the ones that it was in. But anyway, she finally makes it to this to the destination, right? And it's kind of weird the way she gets into this thing. She kind of falls into a sleep, and then she wakes up. It was real bizarre. But anyway, they're showing this really bizarre place that she's in, and it's I don't know if I have that clip. Let's see. No, this is so she's on this beach, right? And this beach is exactly the picture that she drew when she was a kid, right? I'll show that too in case you missed that. But anyway, so that this is a simulated place, right? It's not a real place. We don't know where she is or what's going on, or if she's conscious or unconscious, or somehow she's kind of mind melding with the aliens or whatever to get this simulated environment. And then she encounters the alien. Here comes the alien. Okay, so it's the alien turns out to be her father. Her father is the alien. All right, so that probably confused a lot of people. A lot of people who saw the film say, "What the hell is going on?" People probably didn't understand what was going on there. It was just basically the aliens were. The whole thing was a simulated environment, right? She's wearing some VR goggles or whatever, super duper VR goggles, and getting this simulated environment, and the aliens read her mind and said, "Oh, we thought this would be easier for you to present ourselves as your father, because who knows what they look like in real, right? You know." So that's what that was. It wasn't really her father, in case anyone didn't understand. And that technique of using the blurry alien, you know, coming. And then focusing in to what it is. That technique was used later on in this other film. This film here is called AI, Artificial Intelligence. It was released in 2001. And Spielberg, I guess, did this one, right? And he thought that apparently he thought that technique was pretty cool, and so he used it too. I don't know if the filmmakers in Contact were the first to use that. I've seen similar things before. I mean, you go all the way back to the Outer Limits. The original Outer Limits had an alien that was kind of blurry looking and stuff. But this specific technique of making it look like it's almost out of focus, but using digital effects too, and then bringing it into focus. Here, I'll play the clip from Artificial Intelligence. The movie Artificial Intelligence came out in 2001. I'll show you a similar clip here of that using that technique.
I like your floor.
So it's the same thing, right? It's the same technique. So I don't know if Spielberg saw that in that film, or if that technique has been used in a lot of other films. I just thought it was kind of interesting that was the same style of thing. And I think he used in this one. When I first saw this film and I saw that, I thought, God, that's really cool. You know, how did he get that so out of focus and get it? And I think they used digital techniques to actually do that, just like they did in Contact. I don't think it was just an optical, you know, really being really out of focus and then in focus and stuff. I think they used digital effects to do that. The other thing that they did in this scene here was they altered the eye line, you know. I don't know if you noticed that. I didn't notice it until I saw the clip. I didn't notice it when I saw the movie, but when I pulled this clip for this thing, I noticed it. They changed the eye line here of this woman. You know, she was looking at the door, and then the guy came in, and she kind of flipped her eye line there, which was really weird. And I don't know if that was an intentional thing. Could have been, because they, you know, again, it's the idea they're trying to get the character to you know, it's an uneasy situation for the character. The character is disturbed and confused and blah blah blah, and so they're trying to get, maybe they did that flip of the eye line to try to confuse the audience a little bit when they did that. I'm not sure, but anyway, I just thought it was interesting that they use that same technique of having an out of focus, blurry alien that comes into focus like that.
Hi, Sparks.
Dad?
Okay, I don't know why I got that little clip there. All right, so this is the drawing, right? Remember, and even to that little, see that little. Can you see that there? Can you see my cursor? Yeah. This little tree, even the way this one tree was off to the side, and that exact image was in the thing. So I thought that was, you know, it was obvious they were. This was something they pulled from her mind, right? She thought she had good thoughts about this picture, I guess, and when the aliens pulled that out of her mind, that's the scene they did.
You're an interesting species. An interesting mix. You're capable of such beautiful dreams and such horrible nightmares. You feel so lost, so cut off, so alone.
All right, so this is a trope in sci-fi where the alien, you know, humans make first contact with the alien. Alien says, "Oh, you're such a special species. You know, you got all these traits. You're so special." You know, that's called anthropocentric or anthropocentric writing or attitudes or whatever. People who write sci-fi, you know, are humans, so they obviously think that they're special, so they want to write their story so that humans are special. Occasionally somebody will write something and say, "Oh, you're humans, you guys are not special. You guys are low lives," or whatever. But usually it's you know, "Oh, you humans are so special." I tried to find a clip, but it goes all the way back into the 1950s, you know, the 50s sci-fi and stuff. They got that, where the aliens will say, "Oh, you humans are so special. We're interested in you guys because you're so special," or whatever. And it's just anyway. So I thought that was kind of funny that they did it in this movie too.
Got video on Ellie, 5x5. She's through. She is in the net. She's alive. Get right.
No, she's in the net. She's in the net. All right. That was her coming back, right? So she's in that She's in that place that simulated. She had to go through all these different wormholes to get to this place. She's in the place, and then all of a sudden, all the stars go away. and then instantly she's back on Earth again. So why did she have to go through all the, and stop at Vega and go through all those different wormholes to get to where she was going to, when she could have just instantly gone there, right? Because they got her from there back instantly. I thought that was kind of weird. And yeah, so let me see if I got more on that. Yeah.
We're still trying to determine the nature of the malfunction, but the important thing is you're okay.
What?
It's all right, Ellie. The important thing is that you're safe.
What malfunction?
Yeah, what malfunction? Yeah, it's like, what are you talking about? What malfunction? So what happened, right, of course, is that the thing, from the perspective of the people, everybody on Earth who was watching the little balls get dropped through this machine, it just fell. It just took a second, right? It just fell through, and that was it. From her perspective, she went through this whole many hours of, going through the wormholes and talking to the alien and all this kind of stuff. And so she was like saying, "What malfunction? It worked just fine, right?" So that was, and then of course there's this situation where she then knows that she went through this thing, and she's trying to convince everybody else that it's true, and nobody believes her, and blah blah blah. So that's part of the movie. Here it is, right here. So okay, so this is it. So she goes in front of this committee, and everybody's saying, "We don't believe you. It just fell through, and you're trying to tell us all this stuff happened," and they're thinking that the whole thing was faked, and she tries to explain it and say, "What? But I can. This is what I got. This is really happened. I can't." And you listen to what she's saying here. A couple things to watch for in this clip. One is her acting ability. She's just an incredible actress. And the other thing is that from the narrative, her character now is saying things that sound religious, right? They sound like, well, believe me, it's something you have to, She's kind of had a religious experience, right? So anyway, that's I'll play the clip, and you can see what's going on there.
Me forever, a vision of the universe that tells us undeniably how tiny and insignificant and how rare and precious we all are. A vision that tells us that we belong to something that is greater than ourselves, that we are not, that none of us are alone. I wish I could share that. I wish.
All right. So there she. That's her big dramatic moment there. And it's very, she looked at Mathew McConaughey, which is he's a religious guy, right? And so that was her kind of realizing, oh wow, she's having these kind of religious views or whatever, the same perspective. It's very much the same thing. They didn't use a mirror here, but they could have, right? They could have used that mirror trick here for this one too. Her acting ability is just incredible. The teary eyes, that's something that a lot of actors do. McConaughey was doing the same thing. They keep their eyes open for a long time. Sometimes they'll put stuff in the eyes for the take, but sometimes they'll just leave their eyes open just for a long time, and it forms tears, and that's how they do that. But her voice, that was something that was just, that takes a lot of talent and practice and stuff like that to get the voice to waver and all that in the acting.
I wish I could share that. I wish.
So that's Yeah, she's just really a great actress. Oh, and okay, so here's two the supporting characters that were. The guy on the screen here is the bad guy, and the woman is maybe bad. I don't know what her thing is. She's a press secretary or somebody in the White House.
The fact that it recorded static isn't what interests me.
Continue.
What interests me is that it recorded approximately 18 hours of it.
That is interesting, isn't it?
Okay, I don't know if you heard all that. It dropped out on me. Yeah, so they said, yeah, she had this little recording device, and all they got was static from the recording. They didn't get right. She's supposed to be recording her encounter with the aliens, and all they got was static. But then, wait a second, there's 18 hours. How could there be 18 hours of static if she just dropped a few seconds through the ball? So that they were kind of looking at that, deciding whether they should cover that up or not. I don't know. They're the bad guys. I don't know.
Truth is, you're my last chance.
Okay, this is so yeah, the characters, her character is pretty well developed, but that's about it. The other characters are stock or just McConaughey is a little bit, but really it's just her character really is the only one that's really developed here. They have the characters have a little bit of character, but they're not like really fully developed. That but that's really not. This isn't a character drama, right? It's about the technology. It's about the it's a sci-fi, right? So it's not really a character-driven drama. So you don't really expect that, I guess, in this kind of a film. But anyway, her character, of course, like most narratives, is developed through her interaction with other characters, and the view of certain types of people and all that kind of stuff is developed that way too, through how this film or how films in general show certain types of people. And one other thing that films do now, they didn't used to do this. They used to show wealthy people differently, but now they show them as the billionaires are great people, and they're wonderful, and they help you out, and when they want to show how a particular group of people how they want the audience to view a particular group or a particular type of person, they do that through the interaction with the protagonist. And if they want somebody to have good feelings about somebody, then they have them do good things for the protagonist and make the protagonist happy and do help out the protagonist. If they want the audience to have negative feelings towards a particular group or a particular type of character, person, or whatever, then they show that character doing negative things to the protagonist, embarrassing the protagonist, or disagreeing with the protagonist, or whatever. Not necessarily as like the antagonist, like the bad guy of the film, but just as just short little interactions or whatever. And that's what they did with this billionaire. His interactions with the protagonist most of the time were he was helping her. It's almost a paternalistic or kind of a savior type of thing. The man is saving the woman or something like that, which is not in line with the rest of this narrative. This thing was definitely written favorably towards women. So I think it was more just to try to make the billionaire guy look like the nice guy. And films do that now because films take a lot of money to make, so they want to make people with money look really good in the film, and then people with money will pay more money for that type of film, right? That's the way the world works. So anyway, I'll play I got 3 clips here of the billionaire doing things to help her out.
I'm sorry I wasted your time.
Doctor. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You have your money.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so she's just about to run out, right? She's trying to keep her SETI program going or whatever, and she's out of money, and she goes in and begs for them for money, and so the billionaire sends her a few bucks and keeps her going, and you know, so it's making the billionaire look like the good guy here, right? Really, really nice, the good guy. And by the way, look at that desk. I mean, what the heck is going on there? Look at that thing. Somebody's overcompensating there, I think. I don't know what that's about. All right.
Why build?
Okay, so here's another one. Here's another one where the billionaire helps her.
When you can have 2 at twice the price. Only this one can be kept secret. Controlled by Americans. Built by the Japanese subcontractors. Who also happen to be recently acquired wholly owned subsidiaries
of Haddon Industries.
They still want an American to go, Doctor. Want to take a ride?
All right. I kind of fucked that up there. So yeah, he right, the first machine got blown up, and this is him telling her, "Wait a sec, we got another machine. We'll let you go this time." You know, so that was another good thing. The billionaire is helping her out again. Here's another one.
You found the primer.
Another scene.
Clever girl.
Alignment symbols, registration mark, but they don't line up.
They do. If you think like a vegan.
Yes, of course. Where's the primer?
You'll see. Every 3-dimensional page contains a piece of the primer. And there it was all the time, staring you in the face. Buried within the message itself
is the key to decoding it. Within the layering of the matrix, we have these basic equations. So with this very elementary foundation, they've given us a kind of general scientific vocabulary.
So that was kind of a couple things on that. One, he used the phrase "clever girl," which was back in the 90s. To call a woman a girl was not it was not an insult or anything. So the way people view it today might see that a little bit differently than they did in the 90s. Because this movie was generally very much pro woman, pro woman rights and all that. That was just the way people spoke back then, and it didn't become a pejorative until probably in the 21st century, I think. I don't know, later on. So that was kind of weird. It looked for us viewing it today, it looks kind of it doesn't look too good, but it was not meant that way when they made the film. And then the idea that he gave her the whole, explained the whole thing for her, I thought that's kind of weird. And then she was like speaking his words, exact words, right? And so, anyways, the idea is that they were trying to show that he was helping her out, try to make the billionaire look good. But it also kind of made it look like she was plagiarizing or something, the way they had that her saying exact words or whatever. So I don't know, that's kind of weird.
Excuse me, who are you?
Michael Kitts, National Security Advisor.
Doctor, let me first say that your reputation...
Actually, first, could you ask the gentleman with the firearms to wait outside? It's supposed to be a civilian facility.
All right, that's the other ways, right? Remember, I was talking about the different ways that so the billionaire they were trying to show is a real good guy. This military guy or whoever, I don't know, maybe he was the Secretary of Defense. I don't know who this guy was. I forget what he said his title was, but he was tied to the government, the military, or something. And so they were trying to make him look bad, and that little evil look he gave her, you know. So that was it. So that. See how they try to, the way they try to make a character a certain way based on the way it treats the protagonist. That's how they do that in narratives.
I think it.
Okay. So what else? Okay. What I like to do on films. I don't know if you've seen reviews that I've done. Whenever I do a review, I like to also review and take a look at how the film treats different groups, whether it's inclusive and the representation that it gives based on gender and race and disability or whatever. And so this, I'll show some clips here that kind of indicate how this film did or not. Obviously, they had Jodie Foster in the lead. They made her look really good, and you know. So in terms of gender, they did a really good job on this film. They made women look really good in this film, and so kudos to them on that. And then they also they included a blind character, which I'll show you that clip right here.
It's great that you listen. Most people don't do that anymore.
Well, it's just an old habit. You know, it makes it feel more real. So. Ellie.
Ken Clark.
Hey.
They said you've been up at Owens Valley working under Drumlin. How'd you like him?
So that seemed, you know, it wasn't, you know, they're not like making a big deal about it. They showed that he was blind, and I'm sure they had, you know, consulted groups, you know, to get that right there. So I didn't see that was I thought it was great that they included somebody with a disability in there, and they didn't like focus on it so much. There were a couple scenes in the movie where he, you know, makes comments like, "Oh, he's, you know, his cologne smells this way," or, you know, sometimes they'll do that with somebody who has a disability, you know, kind of give them a superpower. You know, that's kind of a trope. But I thought they treated it really well. I don't know if anybody has anything else to say about that, but it seemed like they treated that pretty well.
Davio, Dr. Vernon, Dr. Arrow.
Okay, so now these are, she's getting introduced to her new group, her fellow scientist or whatever at this facility. And so this guy here, this is one of there were three main, or three, there were two black characters who had, you know, like a full supporting roles. This character here, this black guy, had a bit part, and there was another guy who was just, I'm not sure if, I'll show you the clip later on. But they did have some representation in here, and I'll play a clip and then I'll comment on it here.
Hey, hi there. How you doing? Good. And I believe you've already met our tireless research assistant, Mr. Fisher.
Yep. Here, you just sign.
Well, this is Cologne. Rick's looking at the black hole at the center of M87. Eli's studying Markarian 541, a major gamma ray source. And Dr. Arroway here will be spending her precious telescope time listening for
Little green men.
All right, so they that guy, he I think he was, as far as I could tell, he was the only black guy I saw who smiled in this entire film. When he met her, he smiled. His acting was kind of unusual. I'll show a few other clips too. But you notice that when they made her look embarrassed or whatever, or said something negative about her, you know, looking for a little green man, right? It's kind of something that was at that time in the 80s, 90s. It was kind of looked on at, you know, if anybody talked about even, you know, thinking about extraterrestrials, they were kind of banished from the scientific community, you know. I mean, now it's more accepted. But at that time it wasn't, and they were kind of demonstrating that. And one of the things I noticed was they put that black person very prominently in the scene. Let me back that up here. Right, he's
Little green men.
They directed him to move out and stand right in the scene, and they showed him and her, right? Those were the main thing when she got embarrassed, right? So that was kind of a negative, I think. And I don't think that was something that obviously the folks who wrote the thing, wrote the script and all that would not be intending to do that. That was probably just a you know, direction thing or casting thing, or I don't know, not really sure. But his acting was not, looked kind of obvious or something. There was something wrong with it, and I don't know if he was just being misdirected or what was going on there. But he was just, in the scenes that he was in, it was very, his acting was very not in line with the acting of the other characters. So I thought that was kind of unusual too.
Now I remember why I took that desk job.
And watch him here again.
Dr. Drummond, how are you? Fine, thank you.
Glad you can make it, David.
I know I was going to take 3 planes. I might have reconsidered.
Now they in several scenes with that character, they did that where they had they tried to manipulate the movement of people and the camera and whatever to block him so he couldn't be seen.
Looks like it's gonna be a long night.
Science must first and foremost be accountable to the people who are paying for it, the taxpayers. We need to stop wasting money on pie-in-the-sky abstractions and start spending it on practical, measurable ways to improve the lives of the people who are, after all, footing the bill.
Not unlike my
See, look at his
globular
acting. It's really
cluster.
unusual.
Wait, you're saying you want to do away with all pure research now?
What's wrong with science being practical? Even profitable?
Nothing. As long as your motive is the search for truth, which is exactly what the pursuit of science is.
So yeah, that was just, I don't know what was going on there, but they obviously were moving the camera and moving the characters and stuff like that, and directing him to move so that he was being blocked. But when you could see him, he was acting unusually. So I have no idea what was going on there, but it was something happened there.
Oh, perfect!
Oh, and then this is the weirdest scene in the whole film, I think. They show one of the supporting actors doing his recreation here in a little wading pool or something, and while he's recreating, in the background they got a black guy who's washing his car for him, which I thought was not cool at all. That wasn't good. And just listen to this whole thing. It's weird.
Cass, come on, fishy. Frank, look at the size of that son of a bitch. Welcome back, Dr. C. How'd it go? How's the trip?
I've had better.
Let me play it again here.
Even profitable?
Nothing.
I think I cut
As
off
long
part
as
of
your
it,
motive
I'm
is
sure.
the search for truth, which is exactly what the pursuit of science is.
Oh, perfect, Cass. Come on, fishy. Frank, look at the size of that son of a bitch. Welcome back, Dr. C. How'd it go? How's the trip?
I've had better.
All right, so yeah, so those were the, you know, on the background characters and the bit parts and stuff like that. That were not too good.
All due respect to your scientific knowledge.
Hey, hey, hey. Hi. Oh, I'm so glad you're back. Come on, I got something for you to hear. Is this great?
Okay, so they had a black guy leading the blind guy, which was, I don't know, that's good, I guess. Right? He's helping him out. I don't know. And then the protagonist was saying, "Oh, hi," and being you know, very nice with the blind guy. So that was good for the disability. You know, showing somebody with a disability and having the protagonist having a good, you know, friendly relationship with the protagonist. So that was good.
Get me the White House.
20 million people died defeating that son of a bitch, and he's our first ambassador to outer space.
Actually, the Hitler
The
broadcasts
broadcast
were the
from the
first.
36 Olympics was the first television transmission of any power that went into space. That they recorded it and sent it back is simply a way of saying, hello, we heard you.
Or Sieg Heil, you're our kind of people.
Wait a
I don't
minute,
think so.
Wait a minute. Hitler and his politics have nothing to do with this. I mean, it's highly unlikely that they would understand what they were looking at, and people need to understand the
The
science.
people are in very good hands, Dr. Arroway. We'll take it from here.
The White House has just released a statement confirming that a message of unknown origin emanating from deep space has been received by American scientists. Claire Shipman is at the White House.
All right, so Bassett's character there was, she's right in a position of power, which is good, and she's, you know, yeah, telling people what to do, you know, in control, whatever, all that stuff. I didn't see her character smile at all throughout the thing. Maybe she did. I don't remember. But she had a lot of screen time, and she was, you know, shown as somebody who was at a high level, you know, high level of government and all that. So that was good. They, you know, in terms of you know, inclusion for sure and representation, they had some black people who had some high positions, so it was pretty good. But her character, the style of her character, whatever, was very, you know, like I said, she didn't smile, and she was not always nice to the protagonist, and you know, so it was kind of mixed, but for sure they had good rap here, I think, overall.
To better explain to you the events of the last 48 hours, I'm turning you over to the leader of the scientific team that made this remarkable discovery, Dr. David Drumlin, Special Science Advisor to the President.
Thank you, Rachel.
Okay, so that was obviously one where it was not good. She was not being nice to the protagonist on that one, right? That was a real bad situation for the protagonist. So and they put her on screen, so that was kind of weird. That was not a good thing to do.
Now, I'm going to recommend that Dr. Drumlin administer and coordinate the decryption effort. However, in light of Dr. Arroway's long experience in these matters, for the time being, she will continue to direct operations at the VLA, with the express understanding that any future discoveries will be kept in the strictest of confidence until such time as the president can decide the most suitable course of action. Understood?
Yes.
Okay, so that was pretty good. She was kind of halfway helping out the protagonist there, right? The other guys wanted to take control of the whole project, right? And she was, I think she's President's Chief of Staff, I guess, maybe. I'm not sure what her exact title was, but she's basically representing what the executive branch of the government, and so she was, you know, they showed her in control, you know, of the situation, having a high level position, and that one there she kind of helped out the protagonist because the other guys wanted to take full control of the project, and she said no, let Jodie Foster's character do her thing here for at least for now or whatever.
It's some kind of machine.
A machine? That does what, Doctor?
Well, we don't know. It might be some type of advanced communication.
All right, so it was just another interaction with the protagonist. She was asking questions or whatever.
The fact of the matter is, we don't even know whether they believe in God.
This doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you were going to ask...
Excuse me, Dr. Arroway. We won't be suppressing any opinions here today.
No, of course not. I understand.
Okay, so that one was a little, kind of, that was a negative towards the protagonist, right? So it was a little mixed. I think overall this film for 1990s film did very well for representation.
Even a scientist has to admit that there are some pretty serious religious overtones to all this.
Let's hear from someone whose organization has been accused of...
Okay, this is Geraldine Ferraro. She was a vice presidential candidate. I think the first, if I'm remembering correctly, I was going to look this up beforehand because I did not trust my memory. But as far as I can remember, she was the first first female vice presidential candidate from a major party, I think. But it's definitely, part of the women's liberation, women's rights movement and all that. Very, prominent figure in that. And then there was another woman here. Let's see if I can back that up. In the same little scene here, they had another. This woman did a cameo here. Oh shit. Let me see if I can adjust this here. I have very fine control over this. There. That woman in the center there. I think that is Carl Sagan's wife. Anne Drunin or whatever her name is. She co-wrote the script, co-wrote the story and everything for this film. I think that's her. I think that's her doing a cameo in this. I'm not sure, but I think that's her. Which is kind of interesting.
Scientist
kind of cool.
has to admit that there are some pretty serious religious overtones to all this.
Let's hear from someone whose organization has been accused of conducting its own inquisition in recent...
Okay, now this one here, this is a scene after they get the signal from the aliens and all that stuff, and it's made public and everything. Then they try to show how stupid people are, right? And they try to show all the wackadoodles out in the desert, saying, "Oh, aliens, come get me," or whatever. Just showing people being assholes, being stupid. But here, watch this scene and look and just think about what you see here. Look at this. Watch this. Now, what was the idea about showing Native Americans in that scene? Why did they do that? That wasn't cool at all. They're showing a bunch of wackos, and then they put Native people doing their Native dances and stuff in the middle of all that. That wasn't cool at all. I don't understand why they did that. So that was really bad. I don't know. Whoever, I don't know how they decided to do that or what, how that got into the film, but that was really uncool for them to do that.
Excuse me, Miss Constantine, may I speak to you?
Oh, certainly.
I have a big problem.
Yes?
Do you know where I can find a really great dress?
Okay, so that was kind of cool. I think it would have been better if they would have had the Bassett's character there smile and show a little, camaraderie or whatever. Jodie Foster's character was trying to, take it out of the professional area and get some woman-to-woman advice there, right? That's what was going on there. And I think it would have been better for them to show her smile and say, "Oh, sure, dear, I'll help you out," blah, blah, blah. I think that would have been a little bit better. It would have. Anyway, and then look at the dress that she wore. I don't know. Maybe that's a nice dress. I don't know. I'm not a fashion person, but that looks like a kind of a goofy dress.
Here, we only get one shot at this. Let's get it right. Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so they got a black guy in charge of the big project, right? The launch of the thing and all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of cool. Except it was the version that failed, so that wasn't too cool. But yeah, they had a black guy in charge, telling people what to do, and
We are ready to start up.
Guy with some power. That's
All
cool.
controllers, I need a go, no go for test initiation. Mechanical?
Go.
Electrical?
Go.
Dynamics?
Go.
Communications?
Go.
File systems?
Go.
Safety?
Go.
Crew ops. Verify all pre-test procedures are complete?
Yes, verified. I'm go.
Pad leader, we are looking good here. Is everything okay with you?
Roger. The pad is a go.
So that was kind of cool. And even to the protagonist, and she was, I thought that was pretty cool. So they did good there, except that it was the project that blew up, but it wasn't his fault. So, all right, let's see what else I got here.
23 hours ago, the world was stunned by the announcement of the existence of a second machine and its passenger, Eleanor Ann Arroway. Now, the question that's on everyone's mind, will history repeat itself? With a piece of engineering this complex, with so many unknowns, could the unthinkable occur? The security in Hokkaido has been incredibly tight. No reporters whatsoever.
So yeah, this guy was a big black newscaster, and like a role model or whatever for black people. So that's cool that they had him on there too. So
Have been allowed near the site.
That's all. Yeah. So, yeah, that was that's Contact. It's a great movie. I think they did, for a movie made in the '90s, for representation and inclusion, they did really well. I thought they did really good. There were a few little weird things that were probably manipulated by people who were lower in the, we're not the main, above the line type folks in the film. But overall, I mean, they did a really good job, I think, there. And they got most of the technicals right. They got, the science they got right most of the time. It was kind of weird that I don't understand how, like, when the machine, when she dropped in the ball through the thing, and from the frame of reference of the people on Earth, it seemed like it was just a couple seconds. I'm gonna put my thing on here. It's getting kind of cold. Hang on just a second. Yeah, it's 2 degrees outside, so it's getting kind of cold. 19 degrees here, so it's not that cold here, but so what was I saying? Yeah, when the ball was dropping through the thing, it only took a couple seconds, but from the perspective of the let me put my mug back up here so you can see me. Here, do this right. There we go. So yeah, it was kind of weird. From the frame of reference of the people on Earth, it only took a second or two, but from her perspective, it was, what did they say, 18 hours or something like that. By the way, that whole 18-hour, people today won't, unless you're my age, probably don't remember this, but that 18-hour, I think, was not an accident that they chose 18 to have a gap of information. 18 hours. There was when Nixon was president, and he was being impeached and everything. They were investigating him. There was a tape. He recorded himself in the White House. And, you know, in the Oval Office, he had a recorder, and he recorded almost everything that he did in there. And when they were investigating that whole thing, it turned out there was an 18-minute gap in his thing. And they say that his secretary accidentally, quote unquote, accidentally erased 18 minutes of these recordings. And nobody ever, it never came out what was on there, what stuff they were trying. They say, well, it was a cover-up, or anyway, there was a big investigation, and it was a big news event or whatever about this 18-minute gap in those recordings. So I thought it was kind of funny that in this film, which was not too long after that, in fact was written originally, the first draft of this thing was written right after Nixon resigned, a few years afterwards. So I thought it was kind of funny that they used that 18-hour gap in her recording. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, it's kind of unusual that they have, it only took a couple seconds on Earth, but from her frame of reference, it was 18 hours or so. Which is kind of weird, because that's not how relativity works. So there was something else going on, or maybe the aliens had, the way that they got her back very quickly. Maybe they had the ability to travel in space-time in any direction. Time normally has a direction. There's a vector to time that is only in one direction, as far as we know. But there are theories that you could go, like the whole idea of going back in time and all that kind of stuff. So maybe that's what they were trying to show there, was that she traveled through space-time, through the warp tunnel, thing, forward in time, and had that whole experience and all that 18 hours or whatever. And then when they were done with the meeting, the aliens sent her back in time into the capsule. Maybe that's how they explain it. I'm not sure. Maybe the novel explains that a little bit more. Let's take a look at the Wikipedia article on this. That's what we can do here. Now that we've seen some clips and stuff, maybe that article will answer some questions. Okay. All right, I don't need this anymore, I don't think. Okay, there we go. So, all right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't find a dark theme on Wikipedia for some reason, so this is going to be really bright. I guess I can turn down the brightness on my monitor here. That will help a little bit with this weird glare that I'm getting off of this. All right. So, Robert Zemeckis was the main director. When they first started this thing, as I said, they tried to do it. They tried to get the thing. Druyan, that's her name, Anne Druyan. Did that look like her? I don't know. Yeah, they wrote the novel. Well, they wrote the script. Excuse me. They originally wrote the script in the late 70s. Let's see if I can find that here. let's see here. Development. Here we go. Damn. I got these sneezes here. So it says he got the idea in 79. And one of his friends was hired by a producer to work at a production company or something. And she pitched the idea for him, and they started development. So in November 1980, it says they finished their film treatment. Okay, so they said they got a development deal, and they spent the better part of a year doing the script. So Sagan and Ann Druin, his wife, they weren't married at the time, but they wrote the script for the thing, and then it went into development hell, I guess. It went into a development wormhole. Let's see. Just you hear these stories about what the suits in Hollywood do to people's scripts, to try to fuck them up, to try to make them more Hollywood, And you never know if they're doing this because they want to make it more flashy to sell better, or if they're doing it just to kill the idea, In this case, Sagan said, "Fuck you! I'm not going to do these stupid changes." They had some examples here. Yeah, it says Goober. This guy's name Goober. Goober, I guess, was the suit in Hollywood that was in the development of this thing the first time. He hired screenwriters to rewrite the script, and he put in new characters, and one of them, Native American park ranger, who was an astronaut. Then he suggested that Arroway have an estranged teenage son, whom he believed would add depth to the storyline, as if they needed to put more into this thing, right? I mean, that would have been stupid. It says, all right. So he wanted to try to turn this into a character-driven drama, which there wasn't enough room for that in this thing. It was 2.5 hours as it was, right? And I don't think they could have, they were already packing in plot development, and they could have had maybe a little bit more character development, but not really. It wasn't really a character-driven drama, It was a sci-fi, technology type thing. Let's see. So it went through. Oh, he became the president. He tried to purchase the rights of the thing, but he couldn't get it anyway. Yeah, production hell, right? Typical stuff. And they had Robert Zemeckis, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. I don't think I've ever heard his name pronounced before. He was not the original director, and they had somebody else, and they fired him, and eventually he actually got back into they hired him back. Okay, right, and then right, so they wanted to get him in as the director, and he said the script when he read it apparently, and turned it down. He says the first script for Contact that I saw was great until the last page and a half, and then it had the sky open up and these angelic aliens putting on a light show, and I said that's just not going to work. So they were trying to mess up the script. It looks like mess up the film or whatever. A lot of people didn't like Carl Sagan because he was an atheist, And this film, I didn't get into it at all on my review here, but that was one of the main components of the film, was this tension between science and religion, and it was a big deal back in the 80s and 90s. That was really, really a big deal, and people put a lot of focus on that. Actually, throughout the 20th century, really, there was a lot of that. In fact, going way back, you go all the way back to Galileo, right? There was, but yeah, throughout the 20th century, that was kind of a thing. We had the Scopes trial earlier in the 20th century, and yeah, so there's always been kind of a tension between science and religion. It's not so much now. I think people just kind of understand that science is a thing, you know, and they interpret religion differently. A lot of people, some people, I don't know. But in the 90s, it was a big deal, and Carl Sagan was an atheist, and you know, he made that a prominent part of the narrative of this movie, was to show the conflict between science and religion. And anyway, there were a lot of people who were against Carl Sagan because he was an atheist, and so I can understand how if he tried to get this through a production company or something, there'd be a lot of latent sabotage going on, you know, to try to mess up his project. So the first time didn't work. He tried to get the thing made into a film early in the 80s, and you know, they kept trying to mess it up, and he said forget it, you know, and he turned it into a novel and published it in 84 or 5 or something like that, and it was out there as a novel for a long time, and then I guess Warner Brothers decided they wanted to do something with it, and got Jodie Foster to agree to do it, and they were off to the races then. And then they called this Robert Zemeckis back and gave him a bunch of control, you know, to do the thing, which is cool. Yeah, it says Warner Brothers granted Zemeckis total artistic control and the right of final cut privilege. That's amazing. So it was his film, man. It was written by Carl Sagan, and he was so he gets, I mean, he gets all the credit too, right? Or he gets a lot of it. Sagan and his wife, what was her name again? Anne Drouet. I should know that. God, I never heard of her before. I probably should have. Anne Drouet. Drouet. Let me get a pronunciation there and try to get that. I should know that. Let me see if I can find her page here. See if they get a pronunciation of her name. All right, I got to cut this off here while I look at this. Jesus. All right. Drian. Drian. Okay. All right, so yeah, so Carl Sagan and Anne Drian are the ones who wrote the script, and then this Robert Zemeckis was the guy who executed on the thing and did it really well. Oh, then they got some little details in here. About how they were trying to do, you know, how in groups, you know, you try to do this, what do they call it, what the hell they call it, group building or trust building, or I don't know what you call it, where they try to get people motivated to do the thing that you're trying to do. I'm talking about some of the things they did. They said that one of the things that they did was to have the crew watch 2001 Space Odyssey for inspiration. Yeah. The script had the alien wormhole swallow up the. Oh, this is one of the things that they wanted to do. instead of having the machine take a person to where the aliens were, one of the versions of the script had the machine swallowing up the Earth and sending the whole planet Earth to another place to see the aliens. So, yeah, that didn't work. Right, they talk about it being at the Very Large Array in New Mexico. Yeah, do that. Okay, and there's a bunch of stages in Warner Hollywood Studios in West Hollywood and Culver Studios. So more than 25 new. Oh, right, they talked about putting in real live newscasters, Larry King Live, and all the rest of them that we saw. Yeah, so it says here, Andrian made a cameo appearance as herself, debating with Rob Lowe's character on Crossfire. So I think that was her. Yeah. Another. Let's see. Okay. In Canada, they did something in Canada. Interesting. And of course, they did the Arecibo antenna in Mexico. Let's see, visual effects. Yeah, that was a big deal. Industrial Light and Magic. So they were the ones to go to for CG in the 90s. Oh, Bill Clinton's. I didn't show any of those. I don't think I showed any clips. Did I show any clips of Bill Clinton? I don't think I showed any clips of Bill. They had Bill Clinton in this movie, saying stuff about, oh, this is an astonishing discovery and blah blah blah, and those clips weren't even modified. They were just him talking about something that some Mars rock or something that they found, and they dropped it into this film, and it made it look like Bill Clinton was commenting on contact with aliens. It's kind of funny. Oh, okay, I'm looking at the chat here. Big Ducky Snow is still out there. All right, thank you for lurking, Stephen. Appreciate it. That was for those of you watching on the VOD. This is a live Twitch stream, and one of the viewers was typing in chat. I was just looking at it. He was just to let me know that he's still here. Oh yeah, they talk about the opening scene. Yeah, they explain that. Just they don't show us. They don't explain that it was screwed up though. In here, let's see what else they got here. Yeah, they talk about that shot that I was talking about with the mirror and all that stuff. Really conceptual designs of the pod, as in a novel, on one of the primary shapes in geometry, a dodecahedron, I don't know what that is, 12-sided body. Eventually it was modified to a spherical capsule that encased the traveler. Okay. I talked about all the digital stuff they did to that scene on the beach, when she was talking to the aliens and all that. Do they talk about the alien approaching out of focus? They don't say anything about that, I see here. Yeah. The score, score was great. Themes, okay. They talk about the cult, religion and science. Conflict between religion and science is a big deal in the thing. Right, 18 hours. Okay, several coincidences and indications throughout the film cast doubt on its authenticity. Right, so their commentary is saying that the film was unclear whether she actually made the trip or imagined the trip, and I don't think so. I think the film was very clear that she actually went through a wormhole and met the alien and all that. It was VR, the interaction with the alien was kind of a virtual interaction, but she actually, there were real aliens and all that kind of stuff, I don't think the film was ambiguous on that at all. They're trying to say that it was, but it wasn't. yeah, they talked about her being put in a position, of having this religious experience type thing that she's trying to explain. They talk about that. Let's see. Message of film to be science and religion can coexist rather than opposing camps. Yeah. See, I didn't even in my review I didn't even barely touch on that whole thing about the science and religion conflict and all that, which was a big part of the film. But there was so much going on in the film. Here I'm 2.5 hours into this thing, talking about this film. There's just so much in there. Okay, box office. Yeah, it was well received. Got some awards. I don't care about awards. Bill Clinton. Okay, I don't know. Oh, let's see what NASA says. The scene where NASA scientists give Airway. Oh, the cyanide pill. Yeah, I didn't show that either. I don't think we're allowed to talk about that on Twitch anyway. Let's see. SETI published a review of film where they gave a side-by-side chart of a few relevant details from the film and how they differed from reality. One example being that despite having 27 radio telescopes, the Very Large Array is actually smaller and less sensitive than the Arecibo Observatory, making Arecibo a better location for SETI work, if possibly a less photogenic filming location than the VLA. Despite these small inconsistencies, they maintain that contact is indescribably more accurate. Is that the indescribably? That's a weird adjective to use there. Indescribably more accurate in its depiction of SETI than any Hollywood film in history. Right, so they're talking about the accuracy of the thing. Okay. Okay. It's seen more. Okay. Along. I think okay. Griffin. Who's Griffin? Had a cameo in the role of Dynamics in Mission Control. I know that. Advisor Ron Howard's. Okay. They're just talking about. All right, somebody got into Wikipedia in there and tried to put their resume in there or something. Okay, there's some kind of lawsuit. Coppola tried to sue him, saying that he had the idea first or something, and he lost. They didn't buy his story. So okay, so that's something. I got few more things in the Wikipedia article about it. But yeah, basically we did a pretty good overview, I think, of the thing, showing all those clips and stuff. So that's Contact. I hope everybody liked that. It was this is a great film, and yeah, the 1990s. For a film made in 1990s is great. So that was a good film to review. I don't know which one we'll do next. I had a couple other ideas on films to do. Maybe that AI, artificial intelligence. I don't know. Yeah. That was an interesting movie too. That was really good. I don't think it was too good on rep though. So maybe I want to find something that's, not so racially biased. Try to give directors and filmmakers who do good stuff, give them more attention. It's just hard to find, unfortunately. Okay, so that was Contact. Let me put my mug back up here. I appreciate everyone joining the stream. And if you have any questions, you can put them into I'll have the VOD on YouTube. So if you have any questions, you can put it in there. What I might do is take this, because it's like almost 2 hours. I might clean it up a little bit, edit it a little bit, and put it up on YouTube as a cleaner review. Maybe not. I don't know. I'll have to look at it and see how this actually looks. Yeah, there were a couple sections in there where I had to take a break or whatever. I can cut those out, I guess, and put it into an actual, video review or something for YouTube. But anyway, I appreciate everybody coming to the stream. Thank you, Steven, for hanging in there and watching the stream. And let me do one more thing here. There we go. Get rid of that. And everybody, please remember to wear your mask. Remember, we're in a pandemic. Even though people don't talk about it, we're in a pandemic. A lot of people are dying. You got to wear a mask when you're out in public. It's got to be an N95. It's got to say N95 on it. You have to have straps that go all the way around your head. The masks that have the straps that go around your ears, those are no good. They might not work as well. It has to be an N95. The ones that go around your ears are not N95 masks. So you should get an N95 mask. Wear that. Wear it all time when you're in public. Don't ever forget, because the virus is airborne. You don't have to be close to somebody to get it. You can walk into a room where somebody used to be. The rule of thumb that I use is if somebody was smoking in a room somewhere, if you could smell that smoke, then you should be wearing a mask. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're in a room and anybody in there or anybody who was in there was smoking in the room, would you be able to smell that smoke? If you could, then it means that you could possibly get the virus that the person had. So you should wear your mask. And it's very important. A lot of people are dying. Thousands of people every week are dying in the United States because people are too selfish or whatever and don't want to wear a mask, and they end up spreading the virus. So please wear a mask. If you don't want to kill people, wear a mask. Okay, that's my preaching. All right, appreciate everybody coming, and appreciate everybody sticking through the whole thing. And I don't have enough people to raid anybody, so we won't do a raid. All right, everybody, take care. See you later.